was. And then now I got this set up with, so my go-to standards is always gonna be my main view. Is like when I'm talking, I gotta have some kind of view of myself. You know what I'm saying? But what was I saying? I gotta have some kind of view of myself. But that's where I came up with the main view position. Oh, but I know my main display. I was explaining this yesterday. My main display. The problem with my setup is my main display is always going to be my um, TV. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the highest resolution. So like playing the game, I'm like when that's when you start troubleshooting. That's what I mean about troubleshooting. Like hold on real quick. And I was gonna say too, we gotta start doing this more on the streams or capturing this shit when we determine and like like discussing and figuring a lot of this shit out. You know, discovering this shit. You know, um, creating something like, all right, boom, we in the lab, like on some fly on the wall. Like, all right, cool, we know when we stream, but what about when we preparing shit? You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, um, that's what come with the negotiation of shit, right? Of like, um, damn, it's messy as fuck in here. I didn't even realize I was just doing good. But damn, what was I saying? What was I saying, bro? Oh, the negotiation of devices, like with your the logistics of your setup, right? So like with me, um, let me get this ready. Matter of fact, with me, I know, um, with me, I know a main thing, and that's why you gotta fuck around too, and make a bunch of content so you know how all these little looks look. You know what I'm saying? So I know how the looks are now. You know what I'm saying? So I know how the footage is gonna look when it's cropped, and for the most part, cause the main last step though is I need to fuck around with downloading or recording internally. I gotta create an internal, and so then boom, even on some shit like that, damn, my to do list today on some Linus Tech Tip shit is like I gotta create an internal storage system. You know what I'm saying? Of like capturing our footage internally. You know what I mean? So that we can take it from the source, because when you crop it, it's only gonna be, you know, basically like I said, I got that plug-in where it's gonna record every internal source you want it to, so your screen and in full. You know what I mean? So I really need to set that up. But then it's like even too, the storage gets kind of iffy. Like that's what I'm thinking about now. Should I do it now? But it's like I could kind of get away with this being on the just a screen record vibe. You know what I mean? But then again, it's like I still gotta test doing that like through DaVinci instead of my Apple screen record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
create my room is so messy, but all of this stuff goes somewhere. It's not like I say like dirty is when you got shit that need to go in the trash or don't belong and it's just there. But like all this shit is gonna be put up somewhere. That's why it's out. Cause I'm like, oh, this don't go over here, but I can't just put it up somewhere because I need it. You know what I'm saying? But just even something as simple as that, like organizing things and whatever. So it's like with me, I learned with my setup that, and I gotta go quick because I gotta catch this game somehow. I gotta set this up, but um, what was I saying? I learned with me, my thing is even like with the whole cleaning my room issue is like with me, everything needs to be operational, and once multi, we're using the same equipment for multiple different iterations and setups. You get what I'm saying? So, and it's based to be on like uh, instantaneous impulse, spontaneity. You know what I'm saying? Improvisation. You know what I'm saying? To where like matching what the streamers do. Like I'm sitting here, but then boom, okay, kind of what I did during COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like all right, cool, but I only had so much equipment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and we was stuck in the house. So it was like I was utilizing it that way, but I still wanted to be like on some shit where, okay, cool, I'm using it for this, but then boom, let's transform it into this set. You know what I mean? It's like a live set basically. You know what I mean? Where I'm sitting here explaining something, then I might be showing me the room view. That's why we got the Osmo of me setting something up. But then I might wanna jump into a whole different platform where I'm breaking down the game. You know what I'm saying? And I might have to stop my vertical joint because I'm using that to record internally and I'm watching the game on it, but I can't have that broadcasting on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But then I might be broadcasting on YouTube and I might have this display on there because I'm playing the game. You know what I'm saying? I could play the game and stream, but then I could be recording internally and breaking down Jamal Murray on this TV. You know what I'm saying? And so I need to have that workflow, but then, um, and this is innovative. This is why I'm talking like this and I'm recording it because this is like going to be the future. This is already the now of doing things, but this is going to be the future of prosumers being able to do it. So that's going to be a niche for us, being a production company and being like production personalities. That's like a new thing, you know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, we rap, we sing, you know, we do it all this stuff. We hoop, whatever. But our main thing that we're the best at is like um, independent, prosumer, consumer level production. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's something where we can join the professional field, but we also can teach the average person. Like, you know, it's like we're in the A and V industry. You know what I'm saying? But we're like in a specific niche to where we're like experts at specific digital thing, prosumer shit. You know what I'm saying? The digital aspect of it, digital culture aspect of it. You know, to jump on that degree name, but because that's really where I'm getting the idea of it from, and that's where I learned it. You know what I'm saying? So if I learned it then, that's like one of the biggest scientific institutes that ASU. So it's like you could tell they was trying to install this into society. You know what I mean? So um, it's just about figuring out which iterations because you're using the same gear, right? And that's a whole nother element of it is being constrained to a budget. Oh, we could buy this. I could buy an A10 mini, you know, but what if you only got your school checks or your work checks? You know what I'm saying? That's what our whole thing has been. You know what I mean? That's a specific lane, you know, and that's something most people are going to relate to because if you're trying to really do a big broadcast, just go get a loan and build a studio. You know what I mean? It's already out there. All the gear you need. Like we was just saying, you're going to be constrained to the gear that you have anyways as far as like the top end level of your quality, you know, of your broadcasting quality, you know what I'm saying? So, and you know, even me, somebody I want to get into broadcasting, you know what I'm saying, to where I'm commentating live games and, you know, like I could do that from the crib, you know what I mean? And even Kevin, One Eye Scout, he gets hired to do it. So it's like, this would be a space where I can practice that, you know, just, I don't know, seeing niggas like Kai Sanat and all of them plant or no plant, you know what I'm saying? Definitely plant, but just seeing them take their internal skill set and build it to where it's profitable or valuable on a mass level broadcasting scale. You know what I'm saying? So with my setup, it's about taking what I'm gonna be doing on the norm, like making a priority list of like, okay, I want to stream this, I want to do this, I want to do that. What's more important and what's more efficient and convenient with the setup I have. You know what I mean? What's more practical? So I know me, the Osmo is the most practical because I could just turn it on. So then I gotta figure out, okay, on some Pat McAfee shit. Like if I wake up in the morning, I need to create scenes to where, basically, if I'm like running like this, I'm running on time. I need to be able to capture my AMV and my voice. I need it high quality, and I need it clip ready. I need it crop ready. You know what I'm saying? And I need it to be able to, if I need to pull up a visual on one of my screens, I need that hook, you know, because I know this display, I could get up and move around. But I might not be, sometimes I'm lav ready, but sometimes the lav ain't giving me the best sound. It might not be charged. It might, you know what I mean? I might be doing shit to where, like you say, what I'm doing is obstructing the thing, or I might be less comfortable wearing my lav. I might not have a shirt on, or I might have, you know what I mean? I don't want it visible. but I don't want to put a hoodie on. You know what I mean? So then that's where we got the different boom locations placed around the room. You know what I mean? So that's a priority. So I know that's the priority. You know what I'm saying? But I know main priority, second priority is the content I want to make. That's a different priority group. So the content I want to make, maybe I don't know. I add a visual chart when I make this into a video, like the But you even see like that. I'm multi-purpose because I know I'm creating a platform where this might not be important to somebody right now. You know, nobody watching a live, but it's gonna be important to somebody eventually. Instead of me sitting down having to do it again, I can capture. You only get to capture the first moment once. You know what I'm saying? You know this from shooting weddings and shooting events. You know what I mean? You can only capture something once and have, bro. You know how valuable it is to have the clip of like, damn, that was the first time of when niggas such and such. You know what I mean? And so that's why that archive of us, all the shit we was doing in COVID and shit is important because now I'm burgeoning in the space. So it's like I got my outside identity. You know what I'm saying? I'm an actual coach. I'm a trainer. I'm a creator of like one of the biggest scouting platforms, broadcasting wise. You know what I'm saying? Or like no production wise. You know what I'm saying? In the city. You know what I'm saying? To the point where the school district had to start copying what my blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So that's my IP. So it's like when I go and I got media friends, I got a guy with the hottest interview platform out here. So if I want to go sit down and promote something or promote myself, you know what I'm saying? I got some, I got that, you know what I mean? So it's like I got all these different networking avenues, So it's like now I'm basically able to. I wanted to create a public persona where I could take what I'm doing here and jump out into the media. Like, because like if you become an Andrew Tate or something like that, people are gonna want to know your background. Yeah, they're gonna listen to what you say, but who are you? You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is like, how was I gonna come out and speak on shit that I barely have done when I'm still, um, hold on, when I'm still working on how to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was my thing. Is like I'm still working on how to do it my damn self. So for me to come and try to give some level of expertise, I could do it, but it's gonna be an uphill battle because whenever you critiquing something, you putting yourself in the limelight to be critiqued. You know what I'm saying? And so, nigga like me, I do and I did have skeletons in my closet. So that's one thing too about a lot of you niggas that want to get out here and be public figures and do this and that. The third is like, bro, you gotta make sure shit. You got your I's dotted and your T's crossed. You know what I'm saying? Because you are putting yourself into the public light. So you never know, bro. If you might say you might get popping off the right shit, and it might just be somebody that want to hate on you so bad they hack your account, they hack your iCloud. You know what I mean? Like you got to be prepared for all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? We in the all-seeing age. So with that being said, it's like I'm always trying to have something to where I could naturally be the person I am every day when I wake up. I want to capture that person because if I could show you that version of myself, anything else you might see is just gonna go along with the territory, and that's overstated, but it's very important, right? Because in anything where you're trying to edify people, like you have to be an example of your, um, you know what I'm saying, of like what you're trying to push, So one thing about it is just showing it. That's one of the different elements. Like it's a different strategy of being self-effacing. Like like me, I'm the type of nigga where it's like they say the Eminem fact. Like if you put it out there, then it's gonna be hard for anybody to use it against you. You know what I mean? So you might as well get in front of it. So instead of promoting yourself like, oh, I'm this nigga sitting in this Audi, I'm cooking every day, this and that, the third, you might just be a nigga where like me, I was on that, but it's like, shit, my girl leave me, now I'm back to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So I'm back to the bottom. I'm eating plantains, I'm scraping coins, you know what I'm saying? But I realized I'd rather have that. That's more valuable. Like the me, I'll be thinking about the me or my son in 10 years, but I'm like, no, the me 10 years ago I needed this version of me. Because if I could have what I had 10 years ago now today, if I could have what I had at 19, at 30, you know what I mean? I would have been able to make it through anything. You know what I mean? So it's like the Most High is taking me back to like all of these different areas, which that's what, avoiding the weakness is anywhere, but these different areas that I struggle with. And he's putting me literally through the same situations, just 10, 15 years older. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, I'm going through that same path, and it's like I'm righting a lot of my wrongs. I'm really getting it's like I'm lucid. It's like some Assassin's Creed shit where I'm getting to interact with a lot of my visions, my demons from the past, like my regrets. I'm basically getting to interact again with my regrets. And it's like that's a very rare thing, for you to live to get a second chance or a second look at something. And this time is like my second look is from an authoritative, administrative, like a edification standpoint to where an instructive standpoint to where now I'm influencing the youth. Like I knew that was my purpose. When I got off drugs, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is what is naturally calling me. This is my calling. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm a big little kid. I am the product of this society. I am the parents went and joined the military, went and did this, went to the best schools, played. I did it, bros. I did everything, from an American standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like I went through everything you can went through, but I went from it from the standpoint where I made the right decision. A lot of these niggas out here, we already got enough people that's teaching from, oh, don't do this, I did this wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we need some people to where we did this right, but we also need some people to where I did this right, but this is where I fucked up at. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to get in where you fit in. That's like following the theme of the Bible. You got some prophets that they do this, they do that, but at the end of the day, the ones who all did what they were supposed to do, they got saved. They already got their spot in the kingdom. You know what I mean? You got niggas that done fuck niggas' wives, prayed to other gods, and you know what I mean? But when the rubber hit the road, fight or flight, you know what I'm saying? When the rubber hit the road. And as we get older, the meaning of fight or flight is going to be more and more vast. You know what I'm saying? I feel, like I said, I wanted something that was timeless, that could be like an HBO. You know what I'm saying? Like a tagline. You know what I'm saying? To where like you forget that this even started as a music collective, or you know what I'm saying? Like when I was young, Mitsubishi was making TVs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, a brand. So it's like now that we get older, it's like a whole lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it got kind of like a mafia BMF thing, but it's also a business branding thing. Like it's got a lot of appeal to it. So it's like with me, my whole thing is, I say all that to say that goes into like the character or the intention of all the content I want to make. So once I know the why, right, know why I'm doing this, then I'm gonna know the what, how, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you definitely got to know the why. You know what I'm saying? The why is always the first. Like, why am I doing this? And then there's a what, and then there's a how. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, with me, I'm getting up. I know what I'm trying to be in the real physical world and the digital world. You know what I'm saying? But I'm basing what I want to be in the digital world off of what I'm doing in real life. You get what I'm saying? So I might have a good idea digitally, but I'm like, man, instead of like that's gonna require too much production. You know what I'm saying? Like too much faking and fronting, because that's what production is. You know what I mean? Staging. You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, fuck that. Let me root it more into something I'm able to do off the cuff. Like as that's being more advertisable and more appealing to people now. You know what I'm saying? Because where people are more behind the fourth wall, so you need less of the staging to get people's engagement. You know what I mean? Because you got different ways you can engage with them now. Even with the element of like, hey, let me show you how to do this. Like let me. You go on a field trip. They take you behind the wall. You get way more respect for what they do now. You know what I'm saying? Or so, like you, somebody like you do your job. If you was to show the people in the crowd or the people in the event how it's done, they could respect it way even more because they know, damn, all of this that goes into audio, all this that goes into public speaking, all of this that goes into setup and cleanup and you know what I mean, and booking the events and organizing people. You know, it's a whole industry. You know, versus people who just, damn, that nigga was up there stuttering. Then his mic was going out. You know what I mean? It's like you only um you only engaging it, you only consuming it on a certain level. You know what I mean? Versus like that's why they got wine tastings of like you clean your palate and now you tasting all these different, you know, stimulants and elements of the wine. You know what I'm saying? It's appreciation. You know what I mean? So we in the appreciation era because we have more platforms to really express that. So my main thing is like finding, okay, what's the main intention, and then it's like compromising because we only got so much gear. So then I gotta be like, all right, I gotta prioritize. Like that's something I'm starting to learn. Compromise and prioritize. These are the two elements of life that I'm learning. Like, all right, I want this, but I got this. So functionality and what's my favorite word? Like practically, right? Practically, what makes sense for right now. I get that I'm trying to get there, but how can I get the most out of right now? Because if I sacrifice right now for later, it's gonna come back to bite me. Because if I could do it what suits me right now, it's gonna propel me. Like living in the now is letting you know. Like when I say live in the now, I'm saying do the thing that makes the most sense overall right now. Instead of thinking, let me crash out right now and hope everything is good later. Because that's what you're doing when you seeking gratification. You know what I'm saying? You like, fuck it. I'm a do this right now because I know I'm gonna feel better later. Nah, do what's safe right now, practical, and then hopefully if you know your fundamentals, you know, like you know how many opportunities I missed out on because I was gambling. You know what I'm saying? Or I wasn't in I was in a position where I had to make a major gamble, and you take enough gambles and risk, and they go wrong, you're gonna build a safe streak of like, man, fuck that, nah, I'm gonna pass on that, even if it's a great opportunity, because you understand the stress factor of being unprepared with certain shit. You know what I mean? Like the law, it's like the loss assessment, risk assessment. Like, you know, my brother called to me one day. He like, man, you trying to go to YFN Lucci? He, I'm like, what you mean? He's like, the promoter. He needs somebody to film. And all I could think about is like, niggas gonna be up there smoking. Some shit might happen. We might be up there not knowing what to do. You know what I mean? I'm like, nigga, we better off just passing off on that opportunity and find something else to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bros, I'm better off getting enough sleep to get up and go to, you know, we can, that's what I'm trying to teach my brother, man. And that's something that comes from building to the soil. And I got to thank a lot of the people I did music with because they showed me, bro. Listen, bro, sometimes it's all right to take the long way around. You know what I mean? And that's what you learn in Japan. Like, you see the society, how niggas fish. You know, they do all, like, bro, if you can go at your own speed, you're always gonna be good. Because that's the industry now. Is everybody's fucking going off of impulse and time and gratification. Like that's the capitalist system. Consumption. We gotta get this now, get the money right now, and then we can take that money and flip it. You know, that's how we was. You know what I mean? But it's like, bros, once you get more stable, you start realizing, damn, like you do this for a living every day. You like, damn, okay, if we don't set this up right, it ain't no point. You know what I mean? The convenience factor goes away. You know what I'm saying? Because what you're really selling in life, in society where everybody's interacting, is convenience. You know what I'm saying? of like, oh, I know you could do this for yourself, but if you come fuck with me, I got this for you right now. Then you could go double your shit. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting up and gambling every day. You know what I'm saying? Because we in a world where we invested more in the outside world than our stuff internally. You know what I'm saying? Like me being from the country, I could see like, all right, if you wake up and you got your own garden, you got your own house, and you if you, once you own your own land, you really just building from the inside out versus somebody like, let's say you go get a crib, you got a mortgage now. Now you gotta get a certain kind of job. Now you gotta do this for your car note. Now you know what I mean? It's a credit based society, so it's like we already are dependent on other people to do certain shit. You know what I mean? So every day you're trying to capitalize. That's why it's a capitalist. Like, all right, I got this much amount of money in my account. I'm good at these things, so how can I flip this? Everything's gambling. You see, you ain't never really looked at it like that though, huh? Like it's a gamble. Every day is a gamble. Like
No, it's no, it's a risk. Everything's a risk for sure.
yeah, but it's a debt. But everything's a risk. But gambling is when the risk is not so clearly secured with the reward. It like the odds outweigh.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's gambling. It's like the the odds of success are less than the odds of um, failure. You know what I mean? Like, bro, think about it. When you get up every day, start thinking about this. Do you got a less whatever you try to do? Is there a less than 50% chance that it's gonna work? Think about how many things like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna go get this haircut, right? When you get the haircut, you envisioning you running into the baddest bitch ever. You know, all of this. It's a summation of all your greatest experiences. But more than likely, it's probably not gonna happen. It can happen, and you've been in them situations before. But think about, okay, so how many, all right, bro, how many tens you been in front of where you just like you had the opportunity to get her number and get at her right then and there. A 10.
Shit, not many.
No, but I'm just like if you had to like go in your brain right now off the top of your head, if you had to guess, what would the number be?
Shit, like 7 or 8. I don't know.
7 or 8. And out of how many people or interactions have you had in your life? Millions probably, right?
Right.
So 7 or 8 out of millions. I don't know what's the odds in that. But those 8 experiences, you could probably remember them vividly, right? And you can remember everything damn near you did right and wrong, right? Because it's such a rare experience. And it's such a coveted experience. You know what I mean? But think about it. You only been in that situation 7 or 8 times, but you know what you're trying to do? You trying to prepare yourself to be in that situation ever again because it's like fighting for a title or winning the NBA championship. Like Michael Jordan only went to 6 finals, but he won all 6. That's what make him the best. You know what I'm saying? Everything got to go right for you to be in the right situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about building to be in that situation and executing. You know what I'm saying? So every day we're gambling in the hopes of creating that opportunity. Because how many times have you went to work and came home and been tired and went to sleep? Countless, right? So that's a common experience. So you're willing to risk that to be in the other situations, right? Because you're like, shit. I didn't got through days where I didn't sleep, but everything was all right. That's a familiar experience. So you willing to take a chance on throwing away your familiarity and your normalcy for something extraordinary. That's why it's a risk. You know what I'm saying? Of like, there's some shit you do, you might not like shit. Like, you might go out with a nigga, you might not make it home. it's a bigger risk of you getting shot, not making it home because you're going outside of your norm and what you know. But you'll rather do it. You rather trade that experience because of the higher end of it than the mundaneness and the monotony of just going home, going to the store, going to work, coming home, doing what you got to do. You know what I mean? Because in your mind, shit, I'm still trying to find that bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? I need, that's something you need. You feel like you need. You know what I'm saying? And you like shit. Going to work every day, that shit cool, but I'm less likely to find who I want to find. But that's what you think. But what you don't understand is if you do that enough and every day, you're increasing your chances to run into somebody because you're becoming more stable. You're increasing your financial capacity. You know what I'm saying? So then now you're more stable. So now when you run into a female, she might walk away, but you might got time to run her down now or take her somewhere. You got the money now because your schedule is set. You can take time off of work. You can say, hey, you know, you ever been to such and such? Let's go there this weekend. Let's book a room. And you done met her at a better place because you budgeting your money right. So now you, instead of going out to the club, you going to lounges and stuff where other people in your lane or, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how life is. You building up to that versus, damn, I got a week off. I got a little bit of money saved. Shit, I'm gonna chill every day, but shit, I'm gonna go out one day, might drink a little bit, shit, and just see what I can do. That's a home run. That's trying to hit a home run right there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm taking.
Always been the type to play the long game. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but see, you from the islands though. You know what I'm saying? So that alone, you already from an environment where there's limited resources because you're on an island. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you already know shit. Take what we can get, cause it's better than having nothing. You know what I'm saying? Something is better than nothing. So then, like me, I'm from the country, so I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So it's like everywhere I go, they've been trying to get me away from that think big. And you do have to think big. Travel the world so you can see, damn. Because you got some people, they just stick to what they know and they never take a risk.
Yeah.
You know, at some point you're going to have to take a risk because somebody with a consumption mindset is finna come take what you motherfucking got.
Right. But it's also too like it might be the right message,
Right.
just the wrong person hearing it.
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure, for sure. So it's like, yeah, everything ain't for everybody either. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say, this might sound fucked up. Greatness for everybody is relative. Like your grandma ain't wasn't no millionaire,
Right.
you know, and she didn't have a million sitting in her bank, but I guarantee you, she didn't contributed more than millions of dollars to
Right.
raising certain people. You know, she didn't
Right.
invested $1 million worth, especially when you account for the time factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why the elderly is so important because their way of life is just uh, a whole different sandwich.